Light-emitting diodes, or LEDs, are a convenient indicator. Normally, they can indicate something being on or off, for example, the state of an output pin. But with the addition of pulse width modulation, they can also indicate analog data, such as how fast or how big. Even better, RGB LEDs can be used to demonstrate 4 dimensions of value: red, green, blue, and pulse. Hi, I'm Mark Neiman-Ross, and welcome to this week's edition of Raspberry Pi Weekly. Every week, we explore the Raspberry Pi and share useful tips. This is an easy project. All you need is some jumper wires, a breadboard, some 270 ohm resistors, a standard LED, and an RGB LED. Start with the one color LED. It has 2 leads, one that's longer than the other. The short leg is the cathode. That side will connect to the ground. Connect the other side to the 270 ohm resistor, then to GPIO 14 as shown in the handout. Now look at the RGB LED. The longest leg is the cathode, and that also connects to ground. One note, I'm using a common cathode RGB LED. Some RGB LEDs are common anode and will not work with this project. The 3 other leads on the RGB LED are for red, green, and blue colors in the LED. Connect the RGB leads through the 270 ohm resistors to the Raspberry Pi as shown in the handout. When you're finished, you'll have 4 wires from the Raspberry Pi to LED legs, plus 1 ground wire from the Raspberry Pi to the breadboard ground. Now let's look at the code to make the LEDs turn on and off. I've opened PWM_RGB_LED from the exercise files. On line 4 and 5, I've set up 2 LEDs. Then in lines 8 through 18, I turn the RGB LED red, then green, then blue. Line 21 through 25 turn the red LED on dimly and then at full strength. Lines 28 through 30 demonstrate how pulse width modulation controls brightness. The RGB LED sets its color according to the current hour, minute, and second. And in line 31, the single LED pulses every second. So in a nutshell, that's how to set up LEDs for pulse width modulation and write code to control them. By the way, save this project for next week. I'll show you how to connect a rangefinder to control the LEDs. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Raspberry Pi Weekly. Be sure to join the LinkedIn group and check out previous episodes on LinkedIn Learning. I'll see you next week with more Raspberry Pi adventures.